What is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? In today's video, I'm going to be reacting to my 2021 NBA playoff predictions. So, yeah, this is just what I predicted the NBA playoffs will be. I know I'm wrong on some of these because it is fresh in my mind. I won't waste your time. We'll just get right into the video and just see what I have to say. In the Western Conference, I also, this is on picks.nba.com. You can see it in the top left if you want to try this out yourself. I believe I can pick as many games in it as well. Okay, yes. So, I'm going to take the Jazz in round 1, and I'm going to take them in 5 games. I think the Jazz, it ended in 5. Hey, I was right. As long as Donovan Mitchell is healthy, they're still a really good team. They're still an elite team against non-elite teams, and the Grizzlies aren't an elite team, so I think the Jazz would be fine against them in round 1. Maybe Ja Morant will go off one game. I'm sure he'll go off multiple games, but let him go off one game where he could snag the Grizzlies a win. That was game 1, kind of. The first game in Memphis, or the second game 1, maybe in game 3 or game 4. But I think the Jazz should win both at home. Might be close, and we might be like, wow, some 1 seed they are. But I think they'll get it done in 5 games and go on to round 2 for something they haven't done in a couple years since they lost in round 1 last year to the Nuggets. Now we got Clippers versus the Mavericks, an amazing series. I actually predicted this series pretty well last year. I said it's going to be very close. I picked the Clippers in 6. They won in 6, I think. And
take them in 6
Luka was going to give them a lot of problems, and he did. And I think that the Mavericks didn't really get much better from last year to this year. KP has been on and off due to injury. Josh Richardson really isn't being the pickup they needed. Tim Hardaway Jr. has been playing well. Jalen Brunson's playing well. Dorian Finney-Smith on the defensive end. But I still think the Clippers will be able to outmatch them. But I'm going to give them 6 games. I think that the Dallas Mavericks are too talented.
2 with predictions and the amount of games, so
especially Luka.
This is where it starts to go to shit.
Doncic, he's too talented. They're too well coached to not at least steal a game or 2. So I'm going to take the Clippers in 6, and we have a 1v4 here in round 2. Blazers and Nuggets. This is going to be an amazing series. The last time they faced off in the playoffs, it went to 7 in the Western Conference semifinals in 2019, and then that's when the Blazers lost to the Warriors, and then the Warriors ended up losing to the Raptors that year. It was a great playoffs, and this year, it's going to be a great series, man, and I kind of want to take Portland. I'm very intrigued on taking Portland here, due to, like, the Nuggets being a good team, and if they had Jamal Murray, I think I would have picked them to win the NBA Finals, or excuse me, win the Western Conference, because I would just wanted to be different like that, but since they don't have Jamal Murray, I don't feel comfortable taking them, and it's going to be a close series. But like, we're going up against the best player from the regular season, Nikola Jokic. He's going to win MVP. I just don't know if I take the Nuggets here, or do I take the Blazers? Because I'm having it going to 7, and this is tough, because I kind of want to be a little bit different, not pick all the favorites. Oh, this is so tough. You know what? I'm going to take... Oh, this is tough. I'm going to take Portland in 7. I want to be different.
So it was Denver in 6, so I was off someone or I've gotten 2 right, 1 wrong. So
I could see the Nuggets easily winning in 7. I could see the Nuggets winning in 5. I just want to be a little bit different, like I said, and there's going to be an upset that I'm not going to predict, and this might be the one. Like,
there wasn't any upsets in the Western Conference, well, in round 1. In the East, there wasn't any upsets either, so I was wrong about the upsets. Obviously, the Clippers and well, that wasn't the biggest upset. The biggest upset was Philly over... it went over Philly, and then even the Suns over the Lakers was a consensus upset.
The Nuggets like I normally would, and then I'll be like, oh, how did I not think the Blazers could pull off the upset? The Blazers are still a really solid team. Damian Lillard is still a top 10 player in the NBA, and they're going to be semi-fully healthy, you know, so I'm going to take the Blazers in 6. And the Lakers versus the Suns. Oh, poor Suns fans, man.
Nah.
You haven't made the playoffs in
not poor anymore. They're in the finals.
Decade. And the year you do, you're an elite team. But you got to face LeBron and the Lakers in round 1. You get rewarded with being the 2 seed with facing LeBron and Anthony Davis. Oh, poor Suns fans. Poor Suns fans. I'm going to take the Lakers in 6. I can't bet against LeBron in round 1. As much as I'd like to see Chris Paul beat LeBron. And hey, the Suns, I think, are good enough to beat the Lakers. I just can't bet against LeBron in round 1 against the Suns. Like, they match up.
That's fair to say.
All right against them. You're going to put Mikal Bridges most likely on LeBron. You're going to have Aiden Shadow AD. I don't know really who's going to be guarding Drummond. They might get out rebounded. I don't know who really they're going to slide in there until they give them the size they need. I mean, it's tough because, like, who guards Devin Booker? Is it going to be, I guess it's like a mixture of KCP and Caruso on who's going to be on Booker and, or like Wesley Matthews and Chris Paul. I would love to see the Suns win. I really would, but I just can't bet against LeBron, like I said. So that is going to be my Western Conference first round. We have 2 upsets down there, and then we have the favorites winning up here. So on to the Eastern Conference, Sixers versus the Wizards. This one's fairly easy. I do think the Wizards can steal a game where Rush drops a crazy triple-double.
I think they won in 5? I think they won in 5.
because that's when Embiid got hurt and they took a game. So I think it was 5.
I could even see them
So I
taking
was
game
right.
1 2 years ago. I actually went to
Google
this game
this.
when the Nets faced the Sixers in round 1. The Nets took game 1. I believe Embiid didn't play that game though, so that was the main reason why. But like the Wizards are still talented enough with John Wall, with Bradley Beal, with Davis Bertans, with kind of their young guys. I think they should be able to steal a game. Chandler Hutchinson's been playing all right as of late as well. I think they could steal at least one game in Washington, probably, where Rush drops like a 20, 15, and 10 stat line, and Beal goes for 35. So I'm going to take the Sixers in 5, though. They should win that series with ease. The Knicks versus the Hawks. Now, this is the first time I've seen my Knicks in the playoffs since 2013. Probably one of the best teams we've seen the Knicks be in a while. So I'm going to take the Knicks in this series. It's probably me being a little bit biased. I don't think there's any way I would ever take the Hawks. But I'm not going to say the
Fair to say.
Knicks are going to sweep. I'm going to say the Knicks are going to win in 6 or 7. I'm going to say 6.
I was
I
way
don't want
off.
to do too many 7-game series because we already have ones over there. I guess I only have one so far. I do have a couple 6-game series already. So you know what? I'm going to say in 7 just to be cautious. Yeah, I'm going to say Knicks in 7. Okay. I think the Knicks will beat the Hawks, but I think it will be a competitive series. Like, I think they can go back and forth. Like, Knicks win a game, Hawks win a game, Knicks win a game, Hawks win a game. It's 2-2.
It was like that for the first 3 games, but then not for 4 games 4 or 5.
Maybe the Knicks go up 3-2, Hawks tie it up, and then the Knicks win in 7. Then we got Milwaukee versus Miami. Oh boy. Like, I meant to say this for this video, but Milwaukee has the toughest path on winning the NBA Finals. No team has a tougher road than them. I mean, like, maybe the Clippers, they would have to go through Dallas, then Utah, the 1 seed, and then the Lakers, and then the Eastern Conference team. But no, I don't think so. The Bucks got to go through the reigning Eastern Conference champions, Miami Heat. Then they got to go through Brooklyn. Then they got to go through Philly. Yeah, they got to go through Miami, Brooklyn, and Philly, and then face most likely one of the LA teams. That is ridiculously hard. If the Giannis and the Bucks can pull it off, their legacy is cemented right there. But I'm going to take the Heat over I'm going to take the Bucks, over the Heat in 6 games. They're going to get their revenge on the Heat last year. This is like an Eastern Conference Finals matchup in round 1. It's going to be a fantastic series. 2 great defensive teams going at
a good game 1, not the rest of the series.
Each other. Jimmy Butler just had his best year. You could say Bam Adebayo definitely just had his best year. And then you got Giannis, Drew Holiday just had his best year. Chris Middleton. It's going to be a great matchup there. Eric Spoelstra, he's the better coach in this series. We'll see if Budenholzer can keep his job alive, because they said if they don't make a playoff run, he's getting the can. Now,
here he
if they lose in round 1, he's definitely getting the can. Now, will they give him some sympathy for losing to Brooklyn in round 2? I don't know. That we'll have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, Brooklyn versus Boston. I'm going to take Brooklyn.
Say 5.
Tatum gets them a win. Sure, I'll be nice to Tatum and the Celtics. They're a respectable team.
Okay, honestly, not bad. I predicted 2 right Eastern Conference and Western Conference with the exact same games. I'll take it.
A lot of people are coming at Stevens' throat and saying he underachieves. But, like, in the last 3 years, they have made it to the Eastern Conference Finals 2 times. They lost to LeBron in 2018, and then they lost to the Heat last year.
They made it in 2016.
I feel like the Celtics have succeeded enough where their young core or their 2 best players are under 25 years old, so they definitely have a long ways ahead of them, and they're not even near their prime yet, or any of their peaks. Now, maybe the Kemba Walker signing hasn't been the best, and them not addressing maybe a rim protector, but I think Robert Williams will develop fine into one, and I think we're a little bit too quick to give Brad Stevens the can or the boot. They made the playoffs, the last 7 years, and he's definitely overachieved with some teams that shouldn't have been in the finals. Now, I mean, when they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, the East was a little bit weak that year. Last year was the bubble, but I still think they've done fine, where I wouldn't really think about firing Brad Stevens, because what coach is better out there? I mean, maybe you can find a college coach or assistant coach out there that could be like your next Nick Nurse or somebody like that, but I wouldn't jump the gun on that. So here is my Eastern Conference and Western Conference semifinals. Now we'll go over to the Western Conference. I think the Clippers will beat the Jazz in 6 games. I think it'll be a good series.
Yes.
We'll see Donovan Mitchell.
Was that in 6? I think it was. Hey, let's go.
Shine. We'll see Rudy Gobert shine, but I just can't bet against
it. 7?
As long as we're getting playoff P and we're not getting pandemic P, I think the Clippers should be fine and will win this series in 6 or 5 games. Now we got Lakers versus Blazers. Come on. I couldn't take LeBron over a really good 2 seed, the Phoenix Suns, with Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and Mikal Bridges. I mean, I can't take him over Lillard. I mean, it's a rematch from last year's round 1. I'm going to take the Lakers in 5. They beat them in 5 last year, and we've a 7 versus a 4 seed in the conference finals. Some parity, right? It's not the favorites. It's not like it's a 1v2 seed. I mean, if we see the Jazz versus Suns in the conference finals, I'll give someone that comments this video $200, because I just can't see that happening again.
Oh my god, that was close. Oh my god, that's funny.
Yeah, now we have the Sixers versus the Knicks. As much as I would like the Knicks to win, the Knicks played the Sixers, I think, 3 times this year. 2 of them were without Embiid. I could be wrong on this, but I know they played them twice without Embiid, and they lost both of those. And they're most likely going to have Embiid, as long as he stays healthy, knock on wood, every one of these games here. So I'm going to take the Sixers, but in how many games? Do I give the Knicks 1 win, or do I give them 2? I'm going to give the Knicks 2 wins. I think they can be competitive enough where they can steal 2 games. It'll probably be like 3-1, Knicks make it 3. Like, it's 2-0, Knicks make it 2-1, Sixers make it 3-1, and then Knicks make it 3-2, and then the Sixers end up winning in 6 on the road. And then we got the Bucks versus the Nets. Oh, baby, this is a good series. This really is. I just can't. I'm going to take the Nets in 7. I just can't bet against KD, Harden, and Kyrie.
I was close. It was Bucks in 7.
As long as they're staying healthy. This is going to be such a good matchup series because you can ask so many different questions. Who's guarding who? All right, for the Nets, who's guarding KD? Giannis. He's probably, him or Bam Adebayo are the 2 best players in the NBA you could probably put on KD. Now, who guards James Harden? You're probably going to put Drew Holiday on James Harden, and then who you're going to put on Kyrie Irving? Or no, you'll probably put PJ Tucker on James Harden. At least this is what I would do. And then you put DiVincenzo / Holiday, but mainly Holiday, on Kyrie Irving. They actually match up probably the best out of any team in the league on the Nets. But for the Nets, who guards Giannis? Is it going to be DeAndre Jordan? Is it going to be Kevin Durant? Is it going to be Jeff Green? So you got to ask that question. And then who guards Drew Holiday? Probably Kyrie Irving. And then who guards Chris Middleton? James Harden, or maybe they'll put Bruce Brown or Blake Griffin on him. Then Bucks definitely match up better against the Nets than the Nets do against the Bucks. But I'm just going to take the offensive team that I know at least 2 of the 3 guys will always be efficient and score 25 plus, and you can rely on those guys. There's just like, it can maybe happen once or twice in this series where all 3 of the Nets stars don't shoot well and don't play well. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, obviously
you can bet on
that Kyrie and Harden were going to get hurt.
At least 2 of them playing well in every game. Now, we got the Lakers versus the Clippers. We should have got this last year in the conference finals, but the Nuggets spoiled that. But hey, shout out to the Nuggets. The Clippers blew a 3-1 lead. I was hoping the Nuggets would pull off the Cinderella run and go to the finals. But now we get the Lakers versus the Clippers with a crowd in the conference finals. Every game is kind of going to be like a Lakers home game. And I'm going to... I want to be different. I don't want to have the Lakers back in the finals. I mean, LeBron might be injured a little bit this time. I don't know. Like, if I had to bet money, I'm sure I would take the Lakers. But for my prediction, I'm going to take the Clippers in 7. This is what I had last year, and maybe I'll never learn. I took the Clippers over the Lakers last year in the conference finals in 7. I'm going to do the same this year. And hey, maybe I'm just never going to learn. But I'm going to say it, and I'm going to stick by it, and I'm going to have the Clippers in the NBA finals. And now we have the Philadelphia 76ers versus the Brooklyn Nets. Another kind of series where who's matching up against who. So you're going to put what? For the Sixers, who's guarding Embiid? DeAndre Jordan? Blake Griffin? I don't know. Kevin Durant? Who's guarding Ben Simmons? I guess it would be like James Harden or like Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, somebody like that. And then Tobias Harris can probably be like Kevin Durant or James Harden. Or, yeah, like James Harden. Probably not James Harden, but like Jeff Green mainly. And then who's guarding KD? Is it going to be Embiid? Because it's not going to be Tobias Harris, so maybe it's Embiid. Because then the Sixers do match up well. You could put Ben Simmons on Harden, and then you could put Thibault, if he's on his game, on Kyrie. And I guess you could put Simmons on KD, Thibault on Harden, and Danny Green on Kyrie. But I really wouldn't trust that Danny Green on Kyrie matchup. Maybe put Danny Green on Harden, because Harden kind of stays more on the perimeter than Kyrie does. But I'm going to take... Oh, this is tough. I'm going to take the Nets. I'm going to take the Nets in 6.
Alright, so I was wrong. So this, whatever I say about the finals is completely irrelevant because, yeah, neither one of these teams. So I ended up with the Clippers in 7. Why did I don't know. I also didn't see that all these injuries were going to happen to Kyrie and especially to Kawhi. That really hurt my Clippers finals prediction. But yeah, here were my playoffs. I did all right. I mean, not good at all. I predicted 1 conference finals team out of the 4, so not good. I did well in the first round. I just did well with predicting like the amount of games some will go into, but that's really just luck, right? So yeah, that is it for me. Let me know if your guys' predictions were any better than mine down below. I love you guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.